Alright, so what we're going to do today is perform a pictorial fly. So we're going to get Crystal to perform this movement for us. So as we can see here, Crystal obviously being a little bit shorter than myself. We've actually lowered this cable down just a little bit more. So I'd probably go 2 to 3 from the top. What this is actually going to do is allow for her height and not put so much strain on the shoulder. I'll go down one more here for you. Last thing we want Crystal to be doing is, with the line of the direction of the cables, is coming up way too high, putting a lot of strain onto her shoulders. So right here, this is going to be the perfect height for herself, whereas myself, I would go right up to the top due to height reasons. So doing this movement is going to allow for a greater contraction from the top of range of the movement. So Crystal, I'm going to get you to grab your cables for me, please, and then we're going to perform the movement. All right, so what we want to do is, before Crystal even begins the movement, is we want to make sure her body's in line. So go back for me, Crystal. So it's always important that I always look up to the roof here. I look for the midline of this bar here. If you feel like you're in that middle, then walk directly straight out. It's super important that you are straight into this movement. I won't come too far out, and I'll actually go in a straight stance for me, Crystal, please. So 2 feet together. Yep, a little bit wider so you get a bit of a base of support. And that's it. Cool. All right, what we're going to do is, the line of movement, what you want to do is ensure that from the cable direction to her chest, this is actually where you're going to see the formation or the line of direction where the cable should go on the maximum contraction phase. So Crystal, I'm going to get you to put your arms out and touch my hands here. Good. Now what I'm actually doing is focusing on her upper pec and her medial pectoral head. So doing so will help with the line of direction in the cables to ensure that we get a maximum contraction. So Crystal, what we're going to do is allow you to get that eccentric movement of this cable fly and then contract again. Good. So her body's actually not fighting against the cable for the line of movement, it's flowing with it, which is allowing for this direction to actually anticipate more loading through the pecs. If we didn't have that line of movement, you would see the anterior delts taking a fair bit of load to try and balance out this line of direction. You'd also see a lot more in the biceps, and you'd see her struggling using some momentum to get this line of movement happening. So it's a very straightforward line of movement. It's flowing, activating directly through the chest here. Her feet are well supported, so base of support. The reason why I don't like the 1 foot front, 1 foot back, a lot of people do like that, but it will put a lot of pressure, and if you're constantly doing it, you're going to start to throw out your pelvis alignment as well. The severity of that isn't massive, but we just like to make sure that when we are setting up for a movement, the foundation comes from the legs and the pelvis. So if we can line up effectively and ensure that we're all balanced from hands and feet, the rest of the movement will be perfect. Good, so as you can see, she's not going too quick. She's not just flapping her arms around like she's about to go for a flight. She's well controlled. She's focused on that line of direction, in line with those cables. Her arms aren't coming up like this when she's contracting, which is going to put a lot of pressure on the delt. She's in that line of movement. She's focusing on that chest. Her elbows are well stabilized, and that's exactly how you want to perform a cable fly.